Welcome back to Fold in the Cheese. It is your boy KTrull on the mic. Very festive, feeling the tropical holidays this time around. And I'm joined by E, who's also feeling the tropical holidays today. What's going on, man?
You know, it's a balmy 29 degrees here in Michigan. It was actually pouring rain when I was walking the kids to the bus stop, so that was fun. I actually had to carry my dog. He was just like, "This is no." So
you did the old dig in. You're gonna drag it on the sidewalk. So it's also pouring rain here, and it's like, what is it, 1:30 p.m. right now? We're recording this, and if I didn't have my overhead light on, it was pitch black in my room here. I don't understand how to I can't get more light in here. So it's what it is.
It is.
Yeah. Today we are going to do something exciting. We're going to revisit some of those week one overreactions and see if they were in fact true or just genuine overreaction. We got a couple things to hit on the NFL front, some injuries that are devastating as well. But I wanted to start, as we have done the last, I think, 2 seasons, talking about your Thanksgiving traditions for football.
Yes.
And I know you're going to hit pigs in a blanket. It's got to be a big deal for you, for sure. But
yes,
hit us with the tradition. What's it going to look like for you?
Well, as I said, as it seems to occur, when you get married and start a new family, your traditions shift. Because when I grew up, it was you stay in your pajamas all day. You wake up whenever you do. You watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And then my aunt and uncle and my cousins would come over. They lived in New York, so they would stay with us for the weekend. And we played video games all day. And then taking a break, we'd watch one of the football games. Like, I was the big football fan. My other family members, not so much. So they weren't really interested in it. But I would always like to watch. Patriots never really played on Thanksgiving, up in Boston. So it wasn't. Thanksgiving football wasn't as huge just because, again, Patriots never playing on Thanksgiving, and just my direct family, not as big. But, now as we've gotten older, family is different. So now I'm living in Michigan where the Lions are always playing. So it's pretty
true.
Cool. That's true. So this year we are going up to Kirsten's family up in, up in Alpena. Here we go, up in the corner. So we're going up in Alpena, and obviously Lions football is just huge. So that's definitely a focal point of the day. That it's going to be on regardless, no matter what. And so we're going up there, staying with her parents, and the whole family's coming. So we got her brother and her sister and their family and kids, and
nice.
So it's going to be a whole family. And Lions will be a focal point. I will say that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to stay in my pajamas or play video games.
Why not pajamas? First off. I feel like I could wear whatever I want around my in-laws. Like, I'm wearing pajamas. What are you going to do about it?
But
that's what I do now. It's my thing.
That's my pajamas, maybe.
Yeah, I think I would just wear it. I would rock the pajamas. Now, I don't know about playing video games all day. The kids will certainly be doing that. But so not too dissimilar from my traditions as well then.
It was the video games, there was one of two. It was either Mario Kart or Battle Tanks.
So, ooh, Battle Tanks. I forgot about Battle Tanks.
Remember Battle Tanks? Nice. That was a great one.
That was a good one. Okay. Yeah. So I think I mentioned this. I'm sure I have over the 2 years we've been doing this now. Thanksgiving for us has always been a Christmas gathering for my dad's extended family. So the Troll family Christmas is over Thanksgiving. And so we used to always go to my grandparents' house in North Carolina. We'd usually drive and oftentimes stopped in Nashville, ironically, on our way from St. Louis area. So that was always a big gathering. It was a great time to see aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody. This year, starting about 10 years ago, I guess, we started rotating the location to my generation. So it went from my grandparents' house every year to my aunts and uncles' houses for a while. Now that we are adults, my generation are adults, we're now rotating and hosting ourselves. And so the first time we did that was when I lived in Atlanta. Jamie and I were in Atlanta, and we hosted there. We're hosting this year. So there's 25 people here in our house in Nashville. They're not all staying here, but they'll be here. They come in Friday. So Thursday is like kind of open, Yeah. We have traditionally, when we've done this event, we've traditionally gone to Jamie's parents' house on Thursday, watched some football, full turkey dinner, that whole thing. We'll do some semblance of that this year, but maybe not the turkey dinner this time. We got Friday and Saturday night are both going to be bangers. They're going to be
big,
boot scooting, big time. This crowd likes to get down for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So
who's going to get to stay in your house? Is it your brother? Is it your parents?
So I'm just giving my parents this time around.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just my parents. Creighton, he moved away. Screw him. You can get a hotel.
It's your own damn fault.
You get a hotel.
So you're saying your big nights are Friday and Saturday. Well, now for the first time ever, there's a Black Friday football game.
That's right. That's right.
That's kind of wild.
Right. Who's playing in that game? I think it's the Jets, isn't it?
Dolphins Bills, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was going to be.
No,
I thought it was going to be the Jets with their new quarterback, Tim Boyle.
Yes, you're right, and it's not Dolphins. I mean, the Bills play the Eagles this week. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's Jets.
Hang on. It's the Jets Dolphins. Yeah.
Jets Dolphins. Okay, there it is.
Yep. So that should be a curb stomping, but
a crap fest.
We'll see.
Great.
Of course, when I say curb stomping, I mean the Jets are going to curb stomp the Dolphins. Tim Boyle is going to crush it.
Obviously.
Look out. Everything's changing this week. So yeah, Zach Wilson got benched. In NFL news, Zach Wilson got benched. He's now third string quarterback for the Jets, as he should have been all along.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm impressed he made it this long. To make it 11 weeks to not get benched is pretty impressive for his standards. So well done. So
they won a decent amount of games, right? They were kind of 500 there for a while. They're 4-6 on the season right now. I think if they think there's any chance they can sneak into the playoffs and turn things around, they've got to try it. And so, especially with Rodgers saying he says he can come back from this Achilles injury in mid-December, so
he did not.
Whatever.
It's wild that 2 of their 4 wins, one is against the Bills, who I guess is not as massive, and then the other being the Eagles. It's like, holy crap. And yet one of their losses is to the Patriots, who only has 2 wins. So it's
right, which is why they could beat the Dolphins this week, right? That's exactly why, because they've got wins like that. So look out. Yeah. Prime time, 2 p.m. Friday. It's Central Time, 2 p.m. I've never seen a 2 p.m. game. Anyway, that is pretty wild. So, yeah, we've got a fun slate. Thursday games, Thanksgiving games. We got the Packers at the Lions, Detroit, 7.5-point favorite. We got the Commanders at the Cowboys. Commanders fresh off that Tommy DeVito drubbing against the Giants. They're facing the Cowboys, 10.5-point underdogs. And the Niners are traveling to Seattle, 6.5-point favorites for San Fran.
I think they're getting too many Thanksgiving games. I thought what was nice is that it was 2 games. It's just, it was those Lions and the Cowboys. And it was just, there's just something sacred about it. There's just something homey. And it's like, yes, it's just, it's only 2. And now there's 3. And then there's one on Friday. Then it's only like 5 games on Sunday. Like what?
So Friday, I'm not into that. I don't get that really. Although I will absolutely watch it.
You're going to watch it.
I'll be watching. So that's great. But I don't mind 3 games on Thursday because they can stack them, one after the other. The parade is open. We always watch the parade too. And my kids love it. It's a tradition, right? But the parade's over by 10, 11 o'clock. And so you're kind of like, all right, I got to wait till what? 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for a football game?
Well, that's when you have dinner number 1.
Let's crank it up.
1-ish. And then you have dinner number 2 at like 4-ish. It's great.
Yeah, but you don't need 3 hours to eat. I mean,
yeah, you do.
Eat and watch. Let's go.
You do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You go in. Yes, you do. We got a couple of storylines for the NFL. I think we ought to hit here.
Yeah, we touched upon Zach Wilson getting benched. Now it's kind of other quarterback news. Unfortunately, Thursday night was just a massacre. I mean, not actually in football game score, but in just what happened on the field. So on the first drive, Mark Andrews goes down. And if you looked at the replay, it didn't look terrible, but he's out for the year. Hurt his ankle, and it's just some freak thing, and boom, he's done. So like, oh, damn. And then Lamar Jackson was actually a little hurt. He was shaken up. Tyler Huntley was warming up in the sun. I'm like, holy crap. Like, what is happening? Like, he was about to exit to the locker room, and then he came back. It was weird. He was like holding his hand, but limping. It's like, decide what you're doing.
It hurts here and here.
But he's like, oh, wait, I don't need to limp if my arm hurt. Anyway, he was fine. But then, of course, the biggest news probably was obviously Joe Burrow down for the year now with a wrist injury. He actually throws a touchdown and then goes out for the year because of said wrist. What was the final word on the investigation that the Bengals didn't put him on the injury report? Did anything come of that?
I have not heard a final word. One thing I heard said that it's technically a different injury than what he was dealing with. Same wrist, but different. This is like maybe a ligament thing. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I love how they're saying like, well, on Wednesday we saw him in a brace, but yet there was no mention of it. It's like, no, he's a diva. It's an accessory. He just thought it looked good.
It's true. Absolutely. I will say, and I've listened to a few other podcasts who talked about this, people are pretty outraged. I mean, the NFL has come a long way with the whole sports betting thing. Yeah. They're sponsored by sports books now. They've got partnerships with sports books. And so it's fair for people to say, like, you've got to disclose that stuff because one of your main partners is these, this gambling sites, and like they're losing their ass if someone knew that Joe Burrow was injured, like they needed to tell people. And people are outraged with the sports books and all that. I'm just like, it's not good for the NFL. So as much as I'm kind of like, part of me is kind of like, who gives a shit about the sports books? Like it's NFL, like play the game, whatever. But I'm also kind of like, well, if that's how they make their money, then
right.
That's what the league is nowadays. It is a money machine. That is genuinely all they care about.
So I'm going to shift focus a tiny bit. Still sticking on Thursday night. Now I'm kind of your perspective during fantasy. What is your thought on having players on Thursday night? Do you like it? Do you not?
I don't mind having one or two. I don't mind.
Okay.
I think Thursday night games are always trash. So I don't love anyone playing on Thursday because I don't expect a big output. I don't mind having one or two, just because it gives me a good reason to watch and it's fun and whatever, right? So I like that. But generally, I mostly like to have players as late as possible every week.
Yes,
I prefer the afternoon games on Sunday. I prefer Sunday night football, Monday night football. Yeah. I like having them late. This week, I was playing my father-in-law, and my entire team played at noon, and I was like, "Oh no,
I'm gonna be done.
Sweat it out. I'm gonna be up like 90-10, and I'm gonna sweat it out the rest of the week."
Yeah. So the reason I ask is in my neighborhood league, I had Joe Burrow, and he had Lamar Jackson and Tyler Boyd. And so I was like, oh man, this, could really tell. And then of course I'm just depressed because, Burrow goes out before halftime. Lamar Jackson has a good game. So honestly, it kind of just makes me upset for like 3 days because then there's no games. And it's Friday. I'm just like, I'm down. My projection says I'm 30% chance of winning. Like Saturday, it's the same thing. Crazily enough, I crushed this week, and I crushed him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley went off for me.
I can't believe you started Calvin Ridley. How do you start Calvin Ridley right now? I had him on my bench going ham when I really needed him. He's so inconsistent this year.
He is.
So frustrating.
My depth was a little lacking because of buys and all that. So anyway, I was just kind of wondering just your mindset going into like Thursday nights, because this is actually the second time where the person I was playing had huge Thursday night, like a lot of people up. And so I was down like 50 points early. And so, as you said, it's both. So I'm sweating it for those 3 days, but then he's sweating it later as the days are going on. It's
totally.
like, oh crap. Oh, my guys are going already. So just curious.
Yeah, totally. And truthfully, like it put me in the mindset of like YOLO bombing. If I got down really big, I might change my lineup, but there's no reason to do that. There's no real reason. Like logically, they just happen to get the points earlier than later. Like, I don't know, unless they like way outproduce their projections, like a 50-point game or something crazy. I think it gets in my head a little bit, and I start getting too cute. So I don't know. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Although, kind of on the flip side, I've now had it happen twice, both times with Josh Allen, where I have gotten so week one, and actually we're going to be talking about this video here real shortly. I'm down 25 points with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs going into it. If you remember week one, I just rewatched the video. At halftime, I was only down by like 2 points. With the last drive in the fourth quarter, I'm down by 6 points. And I somehow managed the win just because he hit a couple short ones to Stephon Diggs. So I eked out a win there. So then I'm playing Blake this week in our league, and I'm down 26. Very similar thing. And I have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And once again, like I'm not 100% confident, but at this point I was feeling 65 to 70% confident because Allen's been doing better, relatively more consistent.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Another stinker. Sorry. So it wasn't Monday night. It was a Sunday night game, but same difference. Anyway, so it's just this time it did not pay out for me as Stephon Diggs was a terrible play. Allen was fine, but just kind of bit me in the butt. Great.
Yep.
Great time.
I hear you, man. It's a fickle bitch, this game.
Well, actually, and I'll go back a week earlier when the Bills were playing Monday night against the Broncos. Same thing. Oh, yeah. I lost to Rob by a few points.
Everyone should pity you, is what I'm hearing. We should all pity you in your second place team with your terrible trade. And
I dropped to third place.
You dropped to third place. Oh my gosh. Well, I eked out a win actually. Monday Night Football. Monday Night Miracle. I needed Devontae Smith to outscore AJ Brown by 10 points. And I was like, not likely to happen unless Brown goes down with an injury early. But then by the time I tuned into the game, after getting the kids down and all that, it was like the second half. And Devontae had like 6 or 7 points, and AJ Brown had 1 catch for 8 yards. And I was like, yeah, you know what? It's possible.
It's
A couple more catches. Like, I'm actually kind of in this thing. They peppered him with a couple more catches, and all of a sudden we're pulling even. They throw a 40-yard bomb, and I'm like, I've got this. But then, of course, I'm watching Mahomes, and I'm like, oh my God, if they score quickly, there's still a minute and a half left. And freaking Chiefs, like, I would be so pissed if I was Patrick Mahomes right now. First off, Travis Kelce dropped an open pass. He should have caught, right? If it's Travis Kelce, you're going to let that slide, but he should have caught it to convert a first down. He also fumbled the ball earlier in the game. Second off, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is like streaking wide open down the middle of the field. Mahomes drops a freaking dime on him, drops it for a touchdown, just drops it. And then later, who's that white guy?
Who's that white guy?
I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's running there like 4th and 25. The dude runs 30 yards and cuts back, and he's open. And Mahomes hits him and just right through his hand. I'm like, he actually could have converted a 4th and 25 and dropped it. So 3 drops right there, 5 drops last night. I mean, it's unbelievable.
You know, again, and similar to what we talked about in week 1 where they were playing the Lions, you know, they didn't have Travis Kelce. And so we were saying, like, we always just thought Mahomes was this guy who could win with anybody, just throw any wide receivers out there and he can do it. You know, he can and he can't. You know, he can't do it all himself. He can only do so much to get him in the position, hit him right in the hands, in the basket, and yet, you know, he can't also catch the ball.
I mean, he's just thinking, like, these are NFL caliber receivers, right? Like, they're on an NFL team. They should be able to catch the ball. That's what they do, you know?
Right.
And by and large, I think he's right. They should. But good grief. Justin Watson. Wanted to make sure I got that name correct because he needs to hear all the shame. He deserves all of it.
But good on Mahomes. He was still humble in the loss. Like, he didn't call anybody out, point any fingers. He took it as like himself. So good for him.
Yeah, I've got to make passes that they can catch or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? I probably could have taken a little bit off of that MVS pass. I'm like, dude, you hit him. I mean, it's in the hands, like while he's running, you know.
Okay, so since we have been tying it back to our week 1 video, let's revisit some of the overreactions. So last week we were redrafting, you know, just to kind of see how players have risen and fallen since our initial draft, and it was kind of fun to see how that changed. So do you remember some of the overreactions that we had after week 1?
The only one that I remembered was that I said Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett shouldn't be in the NFL. I do remember saying that, and because I was not prepared for the segment whenever you teed it up,
just threw it on you
after week 1. Like, we didn't prepare for this. You might be shocked to know we don't really prepare for the podcast. So you teed it up, and I was like, oh, geez, I got to think of something. And I was like, well, they both suck. Yeah, Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett, they suck. They shouldn't be in the NFL.
So you were kind of 1 for 2 on that because Kenny Pickett has been absolute trash. He's thrown 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and like maybe 1,600 yards. CJ Stroud basically has that minus the interceptions in 1 game. Yeah. But on the flip side, Sam Howell currently leads the NFL in passing yardage, which is wild. Again, that's very skewed. They could be trailing a lot, and so he has to throw it more. But he's
junk time, bro. He's not good. 18 touchdowns, 12 picks. He's not good. Not good.
I
mean, he's Blake Bortles. He's Tim Tebow. He's getting it done on fantasy for sure. So for fantasy, I think he's a freaking stud in fantasy. But it's garbage time, or we have no other option. We're down immediately because our team totally sucks. He's got good receivers. I don't know. I'm not a believer. I'm just not a believer.
Standing by your fact that he should not be in the NFL?
I am. Well, you know what? I'm standing by the fact that he sucks. He should be in the NFL because come to find out, there aren't any other good quarterbacks anyway. So, like, how many times have we said this season in particular? How are there not more than 10 or 15 good quarterbacks in the world, right, to play in the NFL? How are there not more of these guys? Like, it's unbelievable that teams go around with the crappiest quarterbacks imaginable.
You're not wrong.
I don't get it. So in that world, in the world that we live in, I guess he should be in the NFL because he's probably like the 20th to 25th best quarterback. And that's fair. I don't think he should be. I watch him. I watch him play, and I'm thinking that person shouldn't be in the NFL.
That person should not be throwing passes.
Then I watch Zach Wilson, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he should be in the NFL. Not that guy.
That guy.
Then I watch Ryan Tannehill. I'm like, no, I'd rather have that guy than that guy. Yeah. So there's enough of them out there that I don't know. I guess
just up and down the ladder, the rungs just keep changing.
I'd start him at 32, and I'd be like, well, actually, and then actually that guy tue.
And somehow Sam Howell's now risen to number 7, just because everyone is so crappy.
I don't know. It's just out of attrition, pure attrition.
Okay. Well, similarly, I had an overreaction with the quarterback position. I said that Matthew Stafford is a viable fantasy starter. And that's a little skewed right now just because he was hurt. He did miss some time. But with the emergence of Puka Nacua and then obviously with Cooper Kupp coming back, although Cooper Kupp has been really off the past 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know if it's because of Stafford or whatnot.
He's injured now too.
Yeah. So I don't know what
I
we
would
call
say
that.
no on this because I'm looking back through his weekly totals. Okay.
Yeah.
Stafford's weekly totals 15, 17, 14, 19, 21, 15, 16, 13, missed a game, 11.7. If you're getting 11 to 16 points as a quarterback in our league where it's a 6-point touchdown, that's not good enough. I don't think. I think you need 20. You're looking at 20 points. 18 to 30,
22.
you know.
Yeah. Well, for like a fine, an 18 to 22.
Yeah, he's got 2 of those.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go with a slightly no, which is fair.
Slightly no. I mean, I can't tell you right now offhand. I'll look it up for you while you're going through this of where he stands.
Oh, it's quite all right. I mean, I'm not too worried about where he stands, but let's jump from the quarterback position and go to a more skilled position.
He's like 22, quarterback 22.
Do you remember your second overreaction? And you need me to refresh your memory?
Need you to refresh it.
So we were talking about Bijan Robinson, and you're saying the Falcons should not have drafted him, and it was a kind of a combo deal because of the fact you were really the usage they had on Tyler Algier, and the fact that maybe he's only going to be a 15-ish carry guy. So that was kind of like a toss up here because as we've seen, Arthur Smith, he does not like first round picks or any. He hates fantasy, so he doesn't care about that. And maybe Bijan Robinson also has headaches and doesn't like to play. So maybe he should not have been drafted so high. But maybe it is coming to the realization that he is a 15 carry guy.
I think I was 100% right on this. I still maintain they should not have drafted a guy and not used him like this. Like, I think he's shown that he's a stud when he plays. And to your point, Arthur Smith is annoyingly anti-fantasy. Don't do it just to spite the fantasy world. Who the hell cares, man? Just be like, block it out. If people are asking about fantasy, be like, I won't talk about fantasy. But for real NFL, how can you possibly tell me he's not better than Tyler Algier, or that you shouldn't put the ball in his hands instead of people like Mac Hollins or Olamide Zaccheaus or whoever the hell they're throwing to right now? Like, give this dude the ball,
Yeah.
So I stand by that entirely. You could have done the same thing you're doing right now by not drafting him. I don't know. I don't. It's so perplexing. He's had some great games and a lot of really average games, and it's not. I don't think it's his fault.
So is it? What about? Okay, so I'm going to just pivot here. Kyle Pitts. Is that Kyle's fault? Is that the situation he's in? Is it the same idea? We shouldn't have drafted him, or is he just not that good?
Same idea. I'm inclined to side with Kyle Pitts because of the numbers I've seen about like uncatchable balls, and the quarterback play has been atrocious. So I'm inclined to side with him on that. Golly, I don't know though. I mean, I feel like maybe there wasn't this opportunity. They certainly could have gotten Will Levis because he dropped there. Maybe there wasn't this opportunity, but maybe if they could have snuck in from where did they take Bijan? Was it 5 or 7?
8? I thought it took him 8, but I can
8 maybe. So maybe if there's a chance for you to get up into the top 3 and get one of those 3 guys, Stroud, Young, or Richardson. I mean, I feel like I know Bryce Young hasn't looked totally NFL ready yet. Probably better than what you got.
Right.
Obviously, Stroud and Richardson both looked really good. So, like, I don't know. They need a quarterback. They need a good quarterback. That's another team where I'm just like, is there no one better than Desmond Ridder?
So he was taken 8th.
8th. Okay.
Yeah. So the 3 big quarterbacks were already gone. But yeah, obviously Will Levis because he didn't go to the second round. But yeah, interesting. I mean, the Falcons, the past couple drafts, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson.
I think those are all stud picks. I really do.
Offensive picks. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not nothing, but underperforming.
It's a real shame.
Underperforming. Well, sticking with wide receiver, look at these smooth transitions. I talked Drake London. Let's just go into the wide receiver position.
Because I mentioned Drake London one time, sticking with wide receivers.
Sticking with that. I was talking about Tee Higgins, and I said my overreaction was that he was going to be a non-factor this year, and I would like to take full credit for that one. Although I did in that saying, I was like, I'm going to say it now. He's going to have a great week 2. Watch him have a great week 2. And then, and he had a great week.
That's exactly what happened. That is kind of crazy that you called that entire situation. Granted, he's been injured recently, and he's had a couple of pop games, but only 2. And I don't know. You're right. I mean, 3 and 4 points, high target, no catch, high target, low catch, low target game. Everything you don't want to see. There's some bad juju going on there, man. I don't know what is happening.
And maybe you do attribute some to Joe Burrow not being fully healthy at all. I don't think he had one game where Burrow was fully healthy, whether it be the calf or now obviously with his wrist going on. Who knows how long that was kind of lingering. So I don't know if that has to play a part of it, or again, just Tee Higgins, his uncertainty, again, that his contract is up. They've already given out some max contracts to Joe Burrow, and obviously they want to keep Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon question mark. So I think that does play a part. And clearly it's shown on the field. He's been inconsistent. Again, with the 8 targets, 0 catches, how much is that him? How much is that the throws? You don't know. Well, if we analyze the film, I guess we would know, but we did not. Sorry, listener.
We did not watch the throws. I think they were actually not very catchable, but
I think they were not very catchable.
Either way, it is Joe Burrow. So I will say the last 2 games, and these are 2 games when Burrow was healthy Burrow, because they beat San Francisco, they beat Buffalo. These are 2 games where you're like, okay, Burrow is back, right? He had 6 targets, 5 catches for 69 yards against San Francisco. Solid. 11.9 points, PPR. Not bad. And they had 9 targets, 8 catches for 110 against Buffalo. That's a 20-point game. And then he was injured, missed the next 2 games. So
right.
I don't know. I'm not taking away. I think you get full credit. I mean, you totally nailed this. I'm not taking away from that at all. I would have loved to have seen the second half of the season with a healthy Burrow and a healthy Higgins, but we don't know when he's going to be healthy either. So, and he's one where like he could have a lingering issue where he'll show up and do warm-ups and not play, or show up and play and he's a decoy or something stupid like that. So you never know with him, but yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, there's something off there in the beginning for sure. And maybe it was Burrow, maybe it was the contract. I don't know, but I got to give you props on that.
I think it's just also just the Bengals as being a complete disappointment as a whole. You know, as the script came out, it's Cowboys Bengals, but it's going to be a lot of work to get there.
Got a lot of work for Jake Browning here.
And as we are, our time is coming shorter here. One last thing. While you made the comment, we were both on board with it for the most part, but man, were we way off. It was week 1. And we were talking about the Philadelphia Eagles backfield. So obviously in the offseason, they signed Rashad Penny. They traded for DeAndre Swift. They still have Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott. So it's just a big question mark. Yeah. So after week 1, Rashad Penny, healthy scratch. DeAndre Swift, 1 carry. Kenneth Gainwell, workhorse. So again, you said it like Kenneth Gainwell's a guy. And I'm fully on board. Like, I guess this is what the crazy reality in Philadelphia is. I don't get it, but this is what it's going to be. Yeah, that's not what happened.
I will make a couple of excuses for us, but they're kind of weak. So first off, he got injured immediately, and then DeAndre Swift came out and had a monster game, and that never looked back, basically. Right. So that's the first problem that happened to him. The second is the buzz was he's the guy who knows the system the best. He's the guy the coaches trust. He's the guy they want to, if they really need someone, 2-minute drill, 3rd down, you need someone to burn the clock. Like Gainwell's a guy. Swift is going to be, we're not sure if he's like change of pace or if he's just like a pure runner, not a pass catcher or whatever. Swift has turned out to be really good in that system. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I've got him on a couple of teams. Like he's been a total stud in that system. Gainwell lost his opportunity, I think. Yeah. I think he had it that first game and he showed out and he's like, hey, I could do this. So like, okay, cool. And he got hurt. And then Swift showed out and they're like, oh yeah, he's really good.
We traded for this guy.
And I think if you put him side by side, he's not DeAndre Swift, truthfully. So that's where we missed. That's where I missed. He's not DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is the stud of that group.
Would you say there was a mistake in the blind resume? So kind of interesting to look back. Obviously, it's week 1. I think we even said that in the episode. It's like it's more of not
trends. Overreactions. They were like crazy. Yeah. No, it was not like a, hey, what'd you learn? Oh, this is definitely what's happening. It's like, give me something you think is outlandish, but that you saw this week that you're like, this could be a thing,
What if this is a thing?
What if it's a thing? So
I think we're at least like a 60%. I'll give us a 60% on him. I'll give us that.
All right.
All right. I'll take it. Fair. So do you have one more final like overreaction as the season comes to a close in a few weeks?
CJ Stroud is him. CJ Stroud is him.
CJ Stroud MVP. So that's yours. Okay. I like it. I like it.
Maybe. Tank Dell is him as well. Tank Dell is good. Tank Dell is the next Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's my overreaction. Tank Dell is Amon-Ra.
Tank Dell's Amon-Ra. Okay. And then I'll say on the other side, Sam Laporta, Rookie of the Year in the NFC. There we go.
Rookie of the Year in the NFC North.
Very specific on last Sunday.
Rookie of the Year on the Lions behind Jahmyr Gibbs. Second best rookie of his own team.
Who would be the Rookie of the Year of those two players?
I don't know. We'll never know.
We'll never know because neither is going to happen. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's crazy. 11 weeks are down. That's what's always so crazy about the NFL. Just I feel like it goes so fast, and then you're always so sad afterwards because we wait all year for football, and now 11 weeks have already passed. We're past the halfway, kind of getting into the grind. Every quarterback is hurt. I mean, I know no one's healthy at this point in the season anyway, but it's just crazy to see how many season-ending injuries there have been. The impact on fantasy is ridiculous. I'm starting Josh Dobbs next week in my neighborhood league because I have Burrow. It's just wild. This is where we are.
Hey, I had Kyler Murray coming back just in time for everyone else to get hurt. So I'm like, let's go, baby. Let's go.
Like, I'm healthy. I got nothing to play for. But
everybody else has no quarterback, and I've got 3. Let's go.
Perfect. So yeah. Hey, your team is surging. You know, you moved up the ranks. You win your last 3 games.
There's a window.
There's a window.
I get to play you, not this week, but next week I get to play you, and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are both on a bye. So
yes, I noticed that.
Saying there's a chance.
What you're saying? What was that 1 in a million talk? It's not 1 in a million anymore. So yes, you are surging. I'm on a 2-game skid. I need to hopefully end it here, but I'm playing first place Trader right now. So it's gonna be a wild finish in our league. It's gonna be fun to see. So we'll keep an eye on that. And until next time, keep on folding.
Happy Thanksgiving. Fold it.